a meta basic. So it's a basic that overarches all other basics and fundamentals. No matter where you are in life or what you're choosing to learn, this is a meta principle. Like, this is powerful.
No doubt.
Yeah. And let us know where you all are hanging out from. We got some people in New Jersey, Wyoming, Savannah. Where are you at? Type it in the chat. I want to see where you are. Where are you hanging out from?
Hey, I'm in Austin, Texas, baby. And I got to tell you, this week it was over 100 degrees one day. You know, I was out at the creek behind your house yesterday, Artemis.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I was hanging out at the creek. We had a good time out there. All right, let me hit record. I see that we got some more people on. I'm going to record on. We are already streaming to YouTube, and I'm going to start recording on this computer. So one of the things that, hey, this is Knolly Success Coaching. We are officially kicking off. Thank you for joining me and Artemis for this special time that we get to hang out with you every single week. This is something that God put on our heart to do, and we love doing it. So today we want to talk about the Teachability Index. And by the way, we're going to be experimenting with a little bit different format. Now that we're kind of going, people are getting a little bit relaxed from COVID. I know the cases are going up in some cities and things like that. But I was at the grocery store yesterday. They had a big grand opening of a grocery store right across the street from my house. And I got to tell you, it was jam-packed full of people. And, you know, some wearing masks, some not. You know, I know there's different opinions out there on it. But now that we're kind of getting, hopefully, on the backside of this thing, or into a little bit more normalcy, or the new normal, we're going to relax our schedule. We're still going to come to you guys every week, but Artemis and I are going to try taking turns. So I'm going to hit you one week with something I have, and then he's going to hit you another week, because what we don't want to do is overwhelm you. We don't want you to be in overwhelm. We want you to be in success. That's where we want you to live, in the land of success. So with this, I want to jump in, because there's been a lot of what I should call hoopla around this topic. There should be, because it's a huge topic. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And feel free, Artemis, to jump in if you ever. By the way, let me just share this. Let me stop. So Artemis has done the liver cleanse. By the way, talking about being strong, healthy, being lean. Oh my goodness. I promise to show you guys a picture of me back in the day. But Artemis has got me into a nice lean machine, baby. And Artemis just finished 3 rounds of the 369 liver cleanse. Okay, the 369 liver detox. How you feeling, Artemis? 3 rounds.
Oh man, I you know, it's been challenging, rewarding, uplifting. My connection to God is deeper. My mind is quieter. My vision is clearer. And these are all the benefits of successful detoxification. And I've been trying to get Knolly to get a new headshot, because that headshot is like him pre-transformation. And now you're just like so much brighter and clearer and healthier. It's like, we got to get you a new image. We got to redo. That's not the Knolly that I love anymore. Like, we got to, you know, now that I've helped you work on your body for like 4 years, you're like a new man. You're like made.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I promise to show you guys a picture of me in my early 20s. You'll be very surprised. Okay, so before but I'm on day 9 of my 2nd round of the liver detox.
Yes.
And so, what's up, Zion? Thanks for cheering me on. Vote my victory, baby. And today's an all we get to do all juice today. So I just finished 32 ounces of celery juice, and now we're moving on to the orange, and we're going to have all kind of goodies today. They're on our 2nd round, and we actually are prompted to do a 3rd round, because I mean, it just feels great. So this is the 369 liver cleanse we're following from Anthony William, and so highly recommend. I just wanted to put that plug out there. We want to share with you guys what we're doing behind the scenes, not just in front of the camera. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is the Teachability Index, your Teachability Index. And I want to kind of get into this. So before we do though, I want to just remind you, remember, we've got the free, those of you that are watching that are not part of our group yet, that are not part of Knolly Success Coaching, it's absolutely free. This is something that Artemis and I have committed to do weekly with the weekly coaching call, members only Facebook group, library of coaching trainings. You have an accountability partner. Remember last week we talked about what an accountability partner is, what that looks like. And you have a live event training series. We originally wanted to price this $400, $100. We decided, or I should say, God decided for us to create this Christ-centered, 100% free program, absolutely free. And did I mention it's free? So you go to knolly.com to sign up. That's knolly.com right there at the very top. You just put in your email. And the reason we want your email address is so that we can remind you or send you replays, because we get this all the time. Hey, where's the replay? And you can join our private Facebook group that way as well. So be sure to join Knolly Success Coaching, and that's where we get to love on you. Now, your teachability index, so there's two components to the teachability index, and I actually learned this. Before I get into that, I want to just say I learned this from actually Artemis Kasane, Artemis Prime, as we affectionately call him. And Artemis, he came over to my house and he dropped off this this big box set called "Your Wish Is Your Command." And I got to looking at that thing, and it's a massive box set from there it is. Show him that again, Artemis. Yeah, that big box set. Unmute yourself, Artemis, so you could pop you up.
Here it is. Here's the golden nuggets of wisdom in 14 lessons right here.
Yeah. So let me tell you what. It's what now?
Published in 2009.
Yeah, amazing. And that wisdom is for the ages. It's what we call evergreen. And Artemis put this down. I still remember he put it down in my living room on the coffee table. And he didn't say much about it. He was like, "Hey, here's a little something that, you know, that I brought over." And I looked at it and I was like, "Your wish is your command. What could that be?" And I looked at it. By the way, you can get the training now on YouTube. We have in our Knolly Success Coaching, we've got links directly to that particular set, which, by the way, people paid $10,000 to attend the live event and $1,000 for that set that's in his hand right there. Okay. And one of the things that Kevin talked about, or one of the prime things that he talked about, is this thing called the Teachability Index, And so that's really what I want to share with you today. So let's look at it. So the Teachability Index has two components. Number one, what is your willingness to learn? Now, this is interactive. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about this for a second. Just ask yourself this question: what is my willingness to learn? Okay, because this is so relative right now. Okay, at the early beginning stages of Knolly Success Coaching, because your teachability index will determine your level of success, your level of wealth, your level of finances, your level of everything in life, your level of being the who that God created you to be, your level of being who you really are, your level of reaching your ultimate greatness. Okay. But be honest with yourself. Okay. What is your willingness to learn? What is your willingness to learn? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself on your willingness to learn? And the way Kevin put it, he says, now, if this was a language course, the question would be, what is your willingness to learn this language? How willing are you to learn this language? Now, let's see what we got here in the chat. Put that down. A scale of 1 to 10. We've got somebody says I'm a 6. Somebody says I'm a 10, a 7. Be honest, guys. What's your willingness to learn? 9, 7. Somebody says I love learning. Okay, that's good. 4, a 9, an 11. Okay. Emily says 11. A 4 because I'm impatient. Yeah, I got that. Okay. 11, 10. Okay. Okay. A 7. All right. There's actually a book. I'm going to see if I could find it here. This book right here, let me just share this with you because this is very important. This book right here is called The Secret to Permanent Prosperity by Mike Hernacki. If you haven't read it yet, read it. If you haven't read it, read it. This is the secret to permanent prosperity. Okay. And at the end of the day, I don't want to, you should still read it, but at the end of the day, I'm going to kind of give up. I hate spoiling the ending, but I'm going to do it. The secret is being willing to do whatever it takes. That's the secret. For example, somebody says, man, I got a high willingness to learn. I got a high willingness to learn. High willingness. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I say, well, you need to move to Seattle, Washington. Well, wait a minute. I don't want to move. Oh, well then, like he says in the book, he says, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes. Now, the cool thing about this is it doesn't mean that you'll have to do those things that you think you don't want to do. Okay. I remember when God called me to teach the Bible. Okay. And I was like, man, I do not want to teach the Bible. I don't even like reading the Bible. I don't want to teach it. And he said, you're a Bible teacher. That's what I put you on earth to do. I said, I don't want to teach that. He said, that's what you're going to do. I said, I'm not going to do it. And I was just very stubborn for a long time about this. And finally, I just realized that it was my purpose. It was my destiny. But all the time I would think, well, if God, I don't want to be a preacher. Okay. I do not want to be a preacher. I want to make money because I like making money. I like the process of profit. And that is what God put me in this realm. You got to have those that generate the income and that's what I do. And I was like, well, what if and my thing in my mind was, what if I say yes, and then God calls me to be a missionary in Africa where there's all this, whatever, I thought of the worst scenario. So a lot of times the reason why we don't move forward in our destiny is because we think about the worst case scenario, which it never, ends up being. You should fulfill your destiny because it's only yours to fulfill. So let's keep going. So now that we've got that, what's the second part of this? What is your willingness to accept change? Okay. What is your willingness to accept change? On a scale of 1 to 10, how willing are you to accept change? Okay. First, we talked about what's your willingness to learn. Okay. You put that. Now put that in the chat. What is your willingness to accept change? What are you willing to give up to learn this? Okay. To become your ultimate greatness. What are you willing to give up? And, but put down here, what's your willingness to change from a scale of 1 to 10? Jackie says 7. Keisha says 8. Crystal says 5. Mary says 10. Lee says 6. Michelle 7. Kim 8, 7 for Jackie. Okay. What is your willingness? Initially, Emily's being honest. She says initially I'm at a 2 and then a 10 shortly thereafter. Yeah, that's kind of the subconscious there. Marcia says a 2, a willingness to accept change. Pamela says 7. Okay. Mina says 10. She stays at a 10 daily. And that's probably relatively new for Mina because she's learned so much new information. All right. So that's good. So here's how you come up with your teachability index. Okay. Very, very simple. And a couple quotes that I like from Kevin Trudeau. Number 1, if you want things in your life to change, you're going to have to change things in your life. If you want things in your life to change, you're going to have to change things in your life. Absolutely true. And as you are learning new information, there will come a time when you reach a saturation point. At that time, you must begin using the material in order for you to be able to assimilate new material. In other words, you have to begin using the material that you've learned in order to be able to assimilate new material. And the reason for that is God Almighty, some people call the universe, okay? God will not give you, for example, when that cup is full, you've got to empty it out. You've got to start using it, okay? There's so many people that love to read. They love to go to seminars, and I'm one of them. I like to read. I like to go to seminars. I like to listen to talks, TED Talks, and all this other stuff. but I've got to use that information. I've got to assimilate the information. Okay. The input has to become output. The input has to become output. Okay. I can't just take it all in. I've got to use what I've learned, or just like a sponge, you get saturated. Okay. And you'll no longer be able to take in anything more. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to get to your teachability index, and right now, and then we're going to have a little conversation around this. Okay. I'm back on the PowerPoint, but I haven't shared my screen yet.
We should also talk about the blocks to willingness to learn and the blocks to willingness to change and how to overcome them. I'm happy to cover that.
Yeah. That's really good. So in one of my books, I was actually thinking about talking about that, but I changed the subject because it is a mouthful, and I feel like it actually will be an ongoing topic, and could be even another topic all by itself. So in this book right here in chapter 3, now this is a book that I wrote for real estate agents. Now we already know Knolly success coaching is for any business owner in any field, but in this book I talk about what is success? What is success? And I want you to write this down. RAA. Okay. And then I'm going to have Artemis come in and help me on the back end of this with his point of view regarding the Teachability Index, and help answer some of your questions. So write down R, A, okay, A. So whenever you're learning something new, let me grab the book for reference, but whenever you're learning something new, the first thing that the subconscious mind does is it resists. Okay. I remember when I was first getting into this healthy way of living, my mind was not with it. It says, man, I'm not with that. I like cheeseburgers. And I remember even when I met with Artemis, I said, man, am I going to have to give up cheeseburgers? Because back then I loved me some cheeseburgers. And you know what Artemis told me? He said, Knolly, you don't have to give up anything. I said, sign me up. Where do I sign? I have to give up anything. I want that. So the first thing that will happen though, is whenever you decide to do something new, you will be thrown every obstacle in the book by the subconscious mind. And the reason I think this is because I think that our own mind has gotten to the point where it doesn't believe us. And so it tries to challenge us and tries to see, hey, is this Joker for real? Or is he just playing this time? Or she just playing this time? So the first thing that you're going to encounter when you try to do something new is resistance. You're just not going to want to do it. Okay. But then after a while, after you've been doing it, like let's say I started doing this green drink, and I started drinking the green drink every single day. And it was awful in the beginning. It was terrible. It had kale. I put apple in there, some carrot, some celery. And I would whip it up with all kind of, sprouts and all kind of crap that I wasn't used to eating. And my body, I had to gag, hold my nose to drink it down. And my body said, man, I don't know what you're doing, but I want some tacos. I don't know what this crap is. So it was resistant. Now it goes to the second phase, which is acceptance. So after about 2 or 3 weeks of doing something, about 21 days, it used to be said that it takes 21 days to create a habit. But when Gary Keller did the research, he came up with 66 days. Okay, if you read the one thing, he came up with 66 days, I believe it was. So, do your own research. But after about 20 days or 3 weeks, then your mind starts to change. It starts to say, you know what? I guess this ain't so bad. So that's when it comes into the acceptance phase, resistance to acceptance. It says, okay, this is okay. I can kind of do this. I don't like it, but I can kind of get with this. It's the same thing when you do the 2. Remember, I taught you guys how to do the 2. At first, you're like, man, I don't know what I'm doing here for 2 hours. This is crazy. Then you get into, okay, this isn't so bad. I got a deal. Okay, that's cool. Then your mind gets into assistance. So you go from resistance to acceptance to assistance. Okay. So assistance phase that's the phase where now all of a sudden your mind is like, man, I want the green drink. Where's the green drink at? I got to have it. Now it craves it. Okay. And when I do the 2, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, I got to get to my lead generation. I can't wait to get to it. In fact, the night before, I'm looking forward to waking up so I can do it. Okay. So this is just how the Homo sapiens is wired. We go from resistance to assistance. To acceptance to assistance. So what will happen when you get into the assistance phase is that you will see one miracle after another. And I know some of you guys are living here already. I know, Mina, you're kind of coming into this where every single thing that you turn around, it just seems like one miracle after another. It's just like the Red Sea is just parting everywhere you go, where before all you saw was obstacles. Okay. So that didn't completely answer Artemis's question. I know he's going to have some feedback on it. But I wanted you guys to know how the subconscious mind works, because when you know how it works, you got to get through it to get to it. Let me say it again. You got to get through it to get to it. Okay. The promised land is there, guys. Just keep going. And then you're going to live in the land of plenty. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. All right. So let's get back to finding out what your teachability index is. And it's very simple. First, we ask, what is your willingness to learn? Okay. And you wrote down your number there. What is your willingness to learn? Be honest with yourself. You can be false with me, but you can't be fake with your subconscious mind, because your mind knows if you're telling the truth. Okay. God Almighty knows as well. B, what is your willingness to accept change? 1 to 10. And this is how you know what your teachability index is. Your teachability index is A times B. That's your teachability index, A times B, okay? So for example, if, so you take your willingness to learn times your willingness to accept change, and that is your teachability index. So let's say you said, man, I have a 6 willingness to learn, and I have a 6 of my willingness to accept change, then your teachability index is 36%. You are 36% teachable, okay? By the way, you want to be 100% teachable, okay? And we can slip in and out of that. We'll talk about that maybe during the Q&A session, how you can kind of slip back and forth. Sometimes you can be a 10, then you can slip back to a 4, just like that, okay? So your goal henceforth will be to get your teachability index to 100%, to, at least over 90% teachable, okay? Teachable. Remember, if you have a 9 willingness to learn and a 9 willingness to accept change, you're still only 81% teachable, okay? There's going to be a lot of stuff and by the way, somebody was asking me yesterday, I had one of my students was asking me, one of my mentorship masters was asking, hey, I heard you actually withhold some of your training. And I was like, man, I don't withhold anything. I let and then I got to thinking about it later on. I said, actually, that's not really true. I do withhold a few things, because even Jesus, when he was upon the earth, he would tell the disciples, he would just look at them. He said, man, I got a lot of stuff to teach you guys, but you're just not ready. You're just not ready. And as Artemis says, when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. Okay. When your teachability index is at close to 100%, okay, that's when the teacher shows up. That's when you get the lesson. That's when you gain the knowledge. That's when you get the insight. That's when you get onto your destiny. And that's when you change your life. That's when you start having a life that's worth living, when your teachability index is where it should be. So that, guys, is the teachability index. Very simple concept to teach. Very, very interesting to master and learn. And this is a lifelong thing. This is not something that, see, my goal, and I know Artemis's goal, is to teach you everything that we know. But there's some things that I know that most people that coach with me are not even ready to receive, because it's just, everything is in state. There's stuff that I'm not ready to learn. It's like a ladder. And I got to say this, so many of my students try to skip rungs on the ladder. They try to just hop, skip, just like people that jump over 2 or 3 steps at a time. Okay. In the ladder of life, or the ladder of learning, it doesn't work that way. It does not. I'm sorry to say, you can't go from 1st grade to 6th grade, because if you do, you're going to have a lot of gaps. You can't go from 6th grade to 10th grade. If you do, you're going to have a lot of gaps, and the class is going to be going on and you're not going to have a clue because you've never filled in the gaps. So many of our students have to go back and start backfilling because they would chase down this path, and then they're down this path. Now they're down this path, and they never really learned long enough. Okay, you cannot skip rungs in the ladder of learning. Let me say it again. You cannot skip rungs in the ladder of learning. You go from one rung to the next. That's the trajectory. And don't get upset about it. Okay, just have a high willingness. Okay, a high willingness to learn and a high willingness to accept change. Okay, and you'll get there faster than you ever thought possible. Now, what I want to do here, I want to I want to open it up for any questions. And Artemis, do you have any thoughts about the Teachability Index? Not to put you on the spot.
Let's open it up to questions, because I think, really feeding our group and nourishing them with the answers is going to answer a lot of people's questions. I could probably teach for another 10 minutes on this topic, and I just rather learn from the group. Like, what are your questions? Where do you need help right now in your life in your Teachability Index? Are you struggling with the willingness to change? Or do you find yourself like chasing shiny objects, not getting things done because you're not teachable with the right things? And are you experiencing fatigue of your mind, fatigue in your ability to take in new information? Like, what's going on with everybody? Let us know in the chat, or you can unmute yourself too and share your comments, observations.
So Sherry says, OMG, I'm doomed. I love your sense of humor there, Sherry. That's good.
Yeah, Mary says implementation with results has been her challenge. The spinning wheel must come down, says Crystal.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about implementation with results. So just my 2 cents on that. You've got to become a doer. I've actually got an episode of this coming out on Sunday in my front row training, where it's Bible teaching, where you have to do. You can't just hear it. You've got to actually do, and you've got to implement. And it's time on the task over time. That's what gets results. Time on the task over time. Okay. You don't just wake up with results. You don't just throw a seed in the ground and go back out tomorrow for cabbage or spinach. Okay. It's time on the task over time. You got to let that seed germinate. You got to let it pop open. You got to let it grow. Have you ever watched the grass grow, Artemis?
No.
I had a client of mine, and he loved his grass so much, he'd go out to the back door and he'd just look at the grass. He'd just look at it for like 5 minutes. Then he'd go back in the house. About 2 hours later, he'd go back out and he'd look at his grass. He loved his backyard. This is a true story. And I got, the analogy I got was like this, and he loved to cut the grass, but he would only get to cut it once a week because it just wouldn't grow fast enough for him because he liked cutting grass. And so the guy would just be out there almost like he was just waiting for the grass to grow. Okay. And if the analogy I like to give is, waiting for results in your business is like trying to watch the grass grow. Just do the work. Okay. It's going to grow all on its own. It's not going to need a whole lot of help from you. Okay.
Zion says, what simple practice using our body, mind, feelings can we use to break through resistance and become more willing? The most powerful practice we have for that is your accountability partner, and giving account and being accountable to your partner and doing the 2 hours of Legion every day. And there are different commitments we take at different levels of success. That's why Knolly holds a lot of his information back, because so many of you have not been accountable to lead generation and doing the 2s. So like just being consistent, time on task over time, and having that accountability partner to be there to keep you accountable is going to set that habit. And one thing to realize is that wherever you are in your business, we not only talked about resistance, acceptance, assistance. Well, one of my good teachers, Robin Sharma, calls it first change is hard, then it's messy, and then it's beautiful. So wherever you are, first it's going to seem hard, and that's about a 20-day cycle. And then it's going to get kind of messy, and that's the next 20-day cycle. And then 40 to 60 days later, it gets beautiful because you have made the change. You have rewired your central nervous system. And so the simple practice is to get an accountability partner and be true to your accountability partner. Follow the accountability worksheet and make sure that if you're not doing 10 hours a week, then you ask yourself, don't introduce judgment if you fell short. What are you specifically going to do so that you will have met or exceeded your goals in the next week? And that's the last paragraph of the worksheet. And this is also engaging witness consciousness and being the observer. And way back when I taught the subconscious mind for the first time, I talked about self-acceptance is the master key, and witness consciousness is how we grow. And so it's in the accountability worksheet, and it's going to work with you and through you in the accountability partner program. Keisha says, no problem. My problem is applying what I learn in certain areas. And so that's time on task over time. Lee says, staying focused. Kathleen says, shiny objects catching my attention. Always chasing the next shiny object, getting overwhelmed with so many desires. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And let's talk about that one for a minute, because, so it's not that God wants to withhold from me truth. Okay. Because there are certain things that I'm not ready to learn. Okay. You can't handle the truth. Remember that? There's certain things that I'm just not ready to learn. And the reality is I do want to be ready to learn everything that is within my right to know. Okay. At the same time, we realize that if we teach you certain concepts before you're ready to learn them, we're harming you. We're not helping you. We're not necessarily harming you, but it will cause you harm. So I had a gal yesterday was going on and on about wanting to learn how to develop a niche. And I know for a fact that this person has not even done the first couple of things that I teach, which is really to rock out your sphere of influence and to get your farm up and running. But yet she wants to go 100 steam ahead, full steam ahead on a niche. I could teach her all that, and I probably will teach her. But what she's going to do is she's going to go all the way out this on this niche, and then later on she's going to have to come and backfill. Oh crap! I never shored up this, or I never shored up that, because that shiny object eluded her. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm going to teach you guys a ton of stuff, but just remember, you got to learn the right stuff in the right order, and that's what gets you to success.
Yeah. And let's talk about overwhelm too, because some of us are very hungry for knowledge, and we call those people clubs. Some people are very hungry for relationships and connection and people. We call those people, blaze genius. And so wherever you are, some of you just love learning, and you love adding more and more and more knowledge in. You just learn, and that the steel geniuses love learning how things work. So they go so deep into the how, and they learn all the different moving parts and pieces. And so knowing your learning style and how you like to learn can help you grow in your willingness to accept change. Because if you're, for example, I'm going to do a quick screen share. If you are a dynamo genius, you like the big picture, but if you give a dynamo genius too many details, spreadsheets, and numbers, they're going to start to glaze over, and their willingness to learn is going to drop immediately. But if you just, and if the dynamo genius has to learn a system, it's better for the dynamo genius to take 15-minute recesses, every 45 minutes. Blaze genius is the same way. If you're dynamo or blaze, you can't sit down and learn a system for an hour and a half, or you will burn out. Your willingness to learn will drop very quickly. But if you're a steel or tempo genius, you can sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, Knolly was on his back porch reading .com secrets for probably like 3 hours one day to master ClickFunnels. And look what he's doing now as a steel genius. Steels love learning how things work. They love being still, but blaze geniuses need to move. They need to have variety. And so you want to counterbalance these learning styles with the intention of balanced learning for your learning style. If you're a still genius, make sure you're time blocking action, and you're not just sitting there getting lost in the details all day. You know that you need to take action on what you learn, and you want to be doing the two. You want to be out creating systems and multiplying with your systems that leverage leads and leverage sales and leverage influence. And so if you're a blaze genius, don't sit in front of the computer for more than 40 minutes. Take 10-minute recesses. I was watching a webinar with Roger Hamilton for 40 minutes. And before I got on this call, I stopped everything I was doing and I went out for a walk. I needed variety. I need fun. I need blaze energy to come back and be in front of the computer and teach with all of you. And then the tempo geniuses have the biggest challenge in the willingness to change. Because if your tempo, dynamos grow, they love ideas, tempo's slow. So sometimes tempos can get so in the now because they love slowing down that they lose the vision of where they're going in life and business. So they get so stable and so slow and so connected to their tasks that they get lost in the weeds. And so tempos need accountability, they need vision. They also need a little bit of variety, and also having that for a tempo, being able to follow a system that's proven, because tempos are not really good at generating new ideas. That's not their genius. So they need someone there working with them, giving them the system and the ideas which they can take and plant into the earth. That tempo energy is grounding that idea and then germinating it, letting it grow. And so make sure that if you're a tempo genius, if you're following a system that's proven, that's successful, and that works. And then you're going to go out and connect with your marketplace. You're going to go out and add amazing amounts of value and customer service through your tempo genius. So each of these are the learning styles. This is how we like to learn. And so like if I'm coaching a Dynamo agent, I'm not going to give them a bunch of spreadsheets and systems to track and follow. I'm going to give them one thing to do for a week or maybe two, and yeah, it's like, do these two things until you master them. But if I'm talking to a steel genius, I'll be like, okay, let's look at how this works. Let's give you enough information so you can understand the how and all the different moving parts. And then the steel genius, once they understand how, then they're going to take action, because that's when they're going to believe in it. But a dynamo, they don't need to know how. They just need action. They need to go out and do it. And so keep these learning styles in mind. And as you learn in harmony with your genius and you stay in that flow, the willingness to learn grows.
I love it. I'm actually watching one. I'm actually commenting, and Emily has a really good one here. She says, my challenge has been data overload and fatigue from so much computer time. Pinhole glasses, blue light filter, balance and rest help. So that's very good advice. Very good advice, Emily. Someone else was saying, I'm a tempo, but I can't take more than an hour before I have to take action. And then there was another one that was saying, I struggle Justin says, wanting to know it all before I take massive action. Let me talk on that for just a minute. So one of the things that I learned, because I'm the same way, I want to learn, I want to know everything before I go out, because I don't want to feel inadequate or incompetent, okay? But here's the reality. Perfection is the enemy of progress, okay? Winston Churchill, perfection is the enemy of progress. You will never have it 100% perfect, okay? I remember I was listening to a coaching a couple of weeks ago, and the guy, the agent on there was basically saying, look, I go out with the knowledge that I have and I help my client, okay? Now, whatever questions that they have for me, if I don't know the answer, I write it down. I say, oh, that's a great question. Let me write that down. And I might end up with 2 or 3 questions that I just can't answer because I don't know the answers. But that is far more productive. Just think about dollar per hour productivity. It's far more productive than for me to research 50 questions that they might ask and know all of the answers. And then when I get to the appointment, they didn't even ask any of those questions, but they've got these other 3. So if you want to talk about productivity and being the most profitable and most productive for yourself and for your client, even to do them a favor, don't worry about learning all the, from A to Z. Just write down, say, oh, you know what? That's a great question. Let me look that up. I've got a great answer for that, but I've got to go find it. No problem right there with that. Just get in the habit of doing that. Yeah, somebody says, hey, truth be told, I'm still working through Knolly's Success with Listings book. I know it's a big book. I was almost ashamed to put it out because it's 430 pages. Boom, it's a freaking beast. But I did try to organize it in such a way where it's a reference manual. You don't have to read it through. It's not a novel. You only really have to read the first 10 chapters. And the rest of it, you don't even have to read unless you're doing a deal. And then you reference it as you're going through your deal. Okay. You're like, oh, I'm at this point, this step of the deal. Then you go to that step. It's a 46-step system that's step by step. But again, that's just my, that's my profile, the reason why I write. But it's very, very, very clear and articulate. But don't try to read it all through at one time. It's a beast. Unless you're like me, then you just read it through on a plane or something like that.
Yeah, and that also brings up the principle that Roger teaches, is that academics learn by reading and assimilation, entrepreneurs learn by doing.
Right.
And so if you're an entrepreneur and you've developed some skill sets and you want to go out and generate leads, convert leads into sales, then what's the number one skill you need to learn right now to go do that? And it's the doing of that, if you're an entrepreneur, that helps you learn. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so important to know your profile, know where you are in the Wealth Lighthouse, follow a mentor and a system so that you're doing the right activities, because the most challenging thing an entrepreneur can do is to take responsibility for too many things. This dovetails what Knolly is teaching. It's like, don't think you have to do everything. Just do what's in front of you and do what's in harmony with what you're choosing to focus on right now in your business, and go do it. And that's why we have the Accountability Partner Program and the 2 hours of Legion every day. And then when you start getting 40, 60 deals a year and you run out of time, then it's going to be team. If you don't have enough time, you need team. And then there's another quantum leap from time to team. And then Knolly has a whole nother training there for our teams to build teams and how to do that. And so there's, at each level, there's a different skill set, there's a different focus. And being able to, the most challenging thing we have as entrepreneurs in the information age is to say no. A wealth of information creates a poverty of attention. I'm gonna say that again, a wealth of information creates a poverty of attention. So being able to clear the noise and look at what's going to move the needle in my life right now. If you're having money problems, you need to focus on a cash flow business and generate cash flow, which is leads and conversions. You don't need to be learning Facebook ads and YouTube ads and all the other shiny objects out there. Focus on your cash flow, get your cash flow business and cash flow up. And when you start to really get clear on what do I put my focus on, and then you start saying no to the distractions that are coming in your inbox by unsubscribing, and then no to the people in your life that are texting you who aren't supporting your goals and dreams, and no to all the webinars and shiny objects. And it's like, I'm focusing here. No. And then you realize that focus builds success. And that's where the mentor, the system, and the community come in, because our mentors here at the Knowledge Success Coaching will look at where you are and say, stop that, do this, and do this until you get here, and don't do anything else. And this works for all four geniuses when we know what to focus on. Oh, Pamela says, I missed it. What is it? A wealth of information creates a poverty of attention.
Of attention.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Emily said also meditating on God. The void daily is like a system reset. Yeah, I like that. That's true. Meditation is really a system reset for sure. Can you be a combo of the two? So let's talk about that for a minute, because you and I are both in this, Artemis, where we believe that you should, whatever business you're in, you should lead generate to your personality profile, and you should operate your business to your personality profile. And then you should go ahead and partner with others who are the opposite profile of you. So can you be more than one personality profile is the question. And it's absolutely yes, because I am. What do you say, Artemis?
Yeah, so when you get your profiling done, whether you're doing DISC or Wealth Dynamics, you're going to have all four of the elements. God created 4 types of people, and we're all made of all 4 elements, 5 elements technically, because the 5th element is spirit. So you have all 4 elements in you. You just have 2 more strongly than the other 2. So you're going to, wherever your strongest element is, let's say, like, let me pull up my profile right here. You guys want to see Artemis? Here's me. So I am 36% dynamo, 44% blaze, 12% tempo, and 8% steel. Am I good with the details? Heck no. I love people and I love ideas. I add value in my marketplace through innovation and connection and contribution. So I have all four of these frequencies. I can do these activities. But if I sit down and get lost in the weeds for more than 30, 45 minutes, I will get out of flow. I will not feel good. Things will seem hard. And I will start pushing away opportunity by how I feel. You know, creation is effortless as long as you know who you are, not what you're doing. Creation is effortless as long as you know who you are. I have all four of these energies, but when I'm doing lead generation, yeah, I'm on the phone, I'm on the computer, but I'm also out connecting with people. I'm out working with businesses. I'm out doing videos and interviews. I'm connecting, collaborating, and that's going to bring in so many deals off the radar if I'm staying in my profile. That blaze genius. Whereas if I was more steel, I could sit at home and do lead gen all day long and never leave the house. And that would be great for my still energy, but not for my blaze energy. So to answer your question, we have all four of these frequencies, and two generally more strongly than the other two. And we want to lean in our activities, our lead gen, as well as how we build and grow by leaning into those two dominant energies. And then hiring out or leveraging mentoring and systems for our weaknesses.
Yeah. By the way, this is why I like Roger's work so much better than DISC. Even though I still follow the DISC and I teach the DISC, I like his work so much better because Roger's work actually pinpoints who you are in a way that I've never seen any personality profile system do. You know, for example, on the DISC, I'm an ISC. So my I is very high and my SC combined is very high. They're almost equally high. So that kind of creates almost a Jekyll and Hyde. So in other words, I can, when I'm in the I, when I get on stage, I can clown. Artemis has seen me turn on when I get on stage. I got jokes. You know, I become a comedian. I mean, the whole nine. But in reality, I'm more of an introverted individual, and that's true for a lot of entertainers. Okay, so but yeah, this is, and when you see Artemis's, you'll see that mine is the exact. Just take Artemis's and flip it backward, like just turn it around and read it to a light, and that's mine.
And what's interesting about the disc profile is the disc came from Carl Jung's understanding of the five elements through the I Ching. The person who created disc just took Carl's translation and made his own language using DISC. Those are the four elements. But what the creator of the disc profile left out was spirit, the spiritual component, God. God is in the center of the wealth dynamic square, and that's why. So you got to know why you're doing what you're doing and be connected to spirit and God to make all those elements in business sustainable. If you're not sustainable in business, you're not connected to your why. And the I Ching is intimately connected to God and spirit through that fifth element understanding, what they call flow, you know, the fifth element. And then another thing the disc profile left out, which was our relationship to time, not just who you are, but when are you in your business. And this is where the Wealth Lighthouse comes in. And for those of you asked about the profile test, Mary, go to Knolly Success Coaching unit number 4 and unit number 5. Click on units in the tabs on the top left. Unit number 4 is the Genius Test. Unit number 5 is the Wealth Lighthouse. Because if you're a dynamo genius at red level, you got very different things to do than if you're a dynamo genius at yellow level on the White House. Because you've already built your SOI, you already have your database, you already have influence, deals are already chasing you. So a red level dynamo is going to be doing very different activities than a yellow level dynamo genius, or a steel, you know, red level genius is going to be doing a very different set of activities than a yellow level steel genius. And so when you bring that time element into the personality profiling system, man, then you have direction and clarity. And that's what I love about Roger's system is there's so many different gaps that we didn't know were there that Roger just filled in with the Wealth Lighthouse.
I love it. I didn't know that backstory. Hey, let me look at this. See that?
That's yours?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So mine is actually almost a flip-flop, really, of it's like one hand is this way and the other is that way. And that's why Artemis and I were at the Wealth Dynamics seminar with Roger speaking. And I looked at him, I was like, man, we need to be partners. We need to be business partners. Because literally we're like wings if you put them back to back. Quite
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. That's why we're here today, is because Nolly and I had the realization that we need to be collaborating because God made us in a way that partners well together. Um, and that's another beautiful aspect of wealth dynamics, is it teaches you talent dynamics, which is the companion to wealth dynamics, which is how to organize your team and your time, and how to create more spirit, more flow through time and team by balancing all the 8 profiles together in your team. And Nolly, you've been doing this intuitively as a steel genius, but now that you have this awareness, like how has it changed for you? Like how has it helped you?
Oh, so now that I have the awareness, it's created, especially me being a steel. I'm extremely, and I think anybody would experience this. I'm extremely granular on what I will and won't do. It is completely, talk about mind share. Write that down, guys. MINDSHARE. This is something that's not very often talked about or taught, but when you get into when you have information overload, it takes up so much of your mind that you just become numb. Okay, mind share. So how much of your mind is actually being occupied? When I learned my genius through wealth dynamics, my mind share, it's like just taking a computer and freeing up space. It's just like, oh, you know what? My computer was acting sluggish and slow and choppy and sloppy. But now, guess what? I just erased 60% of it. And I've only got 40%. And I will never necessarily fill up to 100% again, because I only am intentional on what is important for me within my paradigm, which is my profile. So it is just a game changer, 100%, completely game changer. It helps you to focus on what you should be focusing on. And guess what everything else becomes? A distraction.
Yeah.
I get people all the time. They're like, man, you're leaving money on the table. I got an idea over here. I got this, a distraction. Those are distractions. I can clearly see what the distractions are now. They're not shiny objects. They're like big red lights that says, no, no, no. And it just becomes, I'm very aware, put it that way. I'm very aware.
And let's go back to the wealth dynamics square and look at some of these different geniuses. Like Richard Branson is what we call the creator genius. He is the idea innovator. Oprah is the star. Donald Trump is the deal maker. So like Richard Branson created the brands, the idea and the vision, but he never had to go out and build the customer service and close the deals. He had a team around him to help him with the ideas and branding, and they supported the deals, the customer service, the project management, and the systems and the resources. So all 8 of these profiles you see here, all 8 of these are actually connected to nature. They're all connected to the seasons of the year and the way in which spirit expresses creation through these 4 seasons. This is the beauty of wealth dynamics, is this gets so, it's like learning its own language. Whereas when you talk about spring energy, everyone knows what spring is. It's bright, it's wood, it's growing, it's fast moving. Everyone knows what fall is. Everything starts to slow down in fall. And so we can use these natural terms and get connected more to the essence of what is true for our personality profile versus another label. Dr. Hawkins says that in order to know the truth, you must see the essence behind the label. And this is the beauty of wealth dynamics, is it's based on the laws of nature and the essence. So when Nolly's talking about his steel genius over here, we grow in the business cycle in 2 axes. We have a vertical axis and a horizontal axis. So we can add value through innovation or timing. So that's the idea or the customer service. We can leverage. Now, how do we leverage value as a real estate agent? We either do it through systems, multiplying, or we leverage our value through magnifying, going out and generating leads. So multiplication, magnification. So when, Knowledge is still genius at a green level on the Wealth Lighthouse. So he learned what to say no to over here and started saying yes more to multiplying and multiplying and multiplying and creating more leverage through his steel genius of multiplication. And so we can multiply or we can magnify, or we can innovate or we can connect. And this is how we see the square in business. And this knowledge is so powerful when you combine it with when you combine it with where you are in your business. And that's where the Wealth Lighthouse comes in. That'll be for another training later on,
Yeah.
Knolly.
I got to throw this out real quick too, Artemis, that one of my mentorship masters had texted me yesterday, and her question to me was, how much business can I do? Like, at what point do I know I need to hire someone? Like, how much can I do? How big can I grow before I have to hire? And that's the wrong question. You know, so many people come to us and they waste their opportunities. They waste their questions. People will come to Jesus and they ask him a question. He didn't even answer the question. He just went around. He just answered the question they really wanted to ask. And the thing is, the reality is, as scripture says, it is not good for man to be alone. There is no amount of business that you should do by yourself. Okay. You should never be operating a business by yourself. And the reality is, for a business owner, an entrepreneur, okay, you need help. Oh, I want to do it on my own. I'm self-made. Well, that's either pride, ego, or greed. Okay. And greed, what I define greed is having more for yourself than God wishes for you. Let me say it again. Having more for yourself than God wishes you to have. Okay. That's greed. And a person that's greedy was deprived as a child. That's a whole nother topic. We'll get into that later. But you don't want to hoard up, because all you're doing by me saying, I'm going to do this on my own, I'm not going to share what I have, or I'm not going to get a team around me. Well, yeah, I could do 40 or 50 deals and completely crash and burn out and not be able to do anything, because that doing it by yourself is the sure road to burnout. You say, well, I can't afford anybody. How much am I paying you, Artemis, to coach with me here? Nothing, zero. These are called partnerships, guys. And when the right partnership, when you partner with someone, that's what you create. Okay. We now ultimately we're both going to make millions. Okay. But it's not that you have to directly pay people. It's just a whole different mentality and mindset. But we'll help little by little as you go through the Knolly Success Coaching. We're going to help to reshape what you think. See, most of you, it's not so much that you need to learn new ideas, then you have to unlearn. Okay. The biggest thing that most of you have to do is unlearn. The biggest job that Artemis and I have for you is to deprogram, to remove, because a lot of you guys have a whole bunch of viruses and a whole bunch of malware and all this stuff stuck in your computer. And we got to go in and remove all that stuff. See, the computer works fine just all by itself, but it's got a bunch of garbage and crap on it that's got to be removed. And that's the purpose of Knowledge Success Coaching, by the way.
Yeah, and that's also the purpose of the units number 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 and 5. Like, we put those units there. For those of you who haven't done the units, do the units. You know, to know and not to do is not to know. And that's so important to like digest some of this information that's so basic and fundamental, because a master entrepreneur is a master of the basics. And there's a lot of basics in those units that will help you. And then we had a question about, hey, can you do a class on how to create partnerships?
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's a good one. That's one you and I should actually teach together, Nolly, I think.
Yeah.
How to create partnerships, because I'll come at it from the conscious language, subconscious mind, and you can come at it from the business side.
Yeah, and we'll still teach all these together. It's just that one of us will pick the topic, and then we'll kind of like those shows where you see where there's two talking heads kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've already got some of my topics. One of the things I want to teach you guys in the future is multiple streams of income. Somebody had asked me about that, and I didn't have all my stuff ready for it, but I've got a topic on that. I've got another one called the magic of continuity. Continuity. You know what that is? That means you wake up. I took a nap the other day because I got to tell you that for me, I'm still this particular, cleanse. I get tired. So I took a nap. I woke up. I made $1,000 while I was napping. Well, I didn't make it. I made like $890, something like that, while I was sleeping. So that's the magic of continuity. I've got one where I'm going to talk about my $70,000 a month business with no overhead. How did I create it? How did I do it? How can you do it in any profession?
And guys, this is why mentor systems and community are important, because even though all those topics seem separate, a lot of them are connected to the basics and fundamentals, and knowing who you are, knowing where and when you are, and then growing from there. and growing from who and when. Like for example, I'm a new realtor in Austin, Texas. What I'm doing, 2 hours of lead gen, SOI, following up, following through, time on task over time. I'm not ready to go out and start doing all the shiny, flashy stuff that Knolly's doing. I'm just starting where I am, and I'm very humble. And you know, sometimes we get this information, we get so excited, we want to do it all, and then we get overwhelmed and distracted. So that humility of knowing when, that humility of knowing where and when, and just being and just doing the time on task over time is so about the counterbalancing. Because if you're a dynamo genius, you have this vision, you can see it all, you want to do it all right now, but you haven't done the basics. You haven't mastered the basics. You got to master the basics. You got to do what Uncle Knolly says and be humble and do it. And you, for those of you, you know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to myself, and I'm talking to Artemis and you. You know?
It's like the guy says, man, I want to go harvest my corn. I say, well, did you plant corn? Oh crap, I forgot to plant it. But you want to go harvest it, huh? Yeah, you want to go harvest. I show you, and part of that with the lighthouse, Artemis, what we'll do with our trainings, we'll say, okay, this is applicable to you if you're here in the lighthouse.
Yeah.
So we'll help you with that as well. Now, awesome. I promised I would show you guys this. Hold on a second.
Oh, here it is.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Who's that dude? Y'all see that?
Wow.
So that's Josie and I. That's me and Josie. I know it's a little bit, it's not too clear. Hold
Look
on.
at you. Have you never shown me that photo?
No, I just came across it. We were at a church function. Josie and I had just walked into the building. I think it was a funeral, and we had just walked into the building, and somebody snapped just a candid shot of us just walking in, and yeah. I showed it to Josie the other day. She said, "Who's that guy?" Literally, she didn't recognize who I was. I mean, I'm serious about that. That was July of 1995. That was 25 years ago, baby. And so I tell you, I'm in much better health now than I was then. I guarantee you that. All right. So it has been our pleasure to host another one in the books. We love you guys. We're doing this for you. We don't really come to you with any upsells or side sales, or, I mean, all the stuff that we taught as internet marketers, we don't even bring that here. One day we might have an offer for you or something, but we don't, is there anything that we have in the radar to offer these people, Artemis? Nothing yet.
You know, if they want to do a flow consultation, I'm only offering them for like another month, and I'm not just going to stop doing that because I got other work to do. But like, you know, I don't want to leave them hanging with wealth dynamics material because we're so passionate about it. So if you want to do a flow consultation, that's one thing that you can do that will bless your business.
Absolutely.
So that's like one offer, and that does require my time, and my time's getting so much more valuable now than it was 3 months ago.
That's how I met Artemis, was with a consultation. So that goes without saying. So, hey, but we love you guys. We do appreciate you taking your time to hang out with us. We're very grateful that you took an hour to spend with us and hang out with us. And we thank you. Thank you so much. Any parting words, Artemis, before we open it up for everybody to say goodbye?
Go plant some corn. Go plant some corn.
All right. Unmute yourself, guys. Say goodbye to
you
us.
all.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you
Have a
so
great
much.
day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.